Seasickness would be one of our biggest complaints, from our surveys that we send out. Seasickness is right up there. So anything that we can do to impact that, bring that down, and adds value to us. You know what I mean? It adds value to the customer experience.
Would you recommend sea level to other commercial operators similar to yourself?
Yeah, definitely. It's so simple. It's press a button, put it on. You know what I mean? So it doesn't take up much time at all. It's very easy to manage. That was one of my big concerns, managing these and actually pulling my crew away from their duties and overall care for the whole tour or the passengers. But this here, simple. Put it on, press a button, put it on them, let them be for a few minutes, come back and check on them.
Fantastic.
It's easy.
Internally, when we ring people, it's like they want double evidence, because it's like, well, VR headsets make you sick.
Yes. Yes. That's I thought that too. Isn't staring at a screen supposed to make you sick? But it's the movement and everything that goes around with it. Where this is like, stationary, stabilized. That actually it does. It's calming.
Does sea level help with the after vomiting cleanup on a bad day?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the crew, I keep asking my crew about feedback, for yourself, and they're like, it works. Yeah. It works. It's great. It's great.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Do you include it in the safety briefing?
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah. Every day, every trip. Right. Every trip is usually general seasickness warning is what we would go out on. Even on a nice day, it would have to be like a lake out there for us to go on a G1, which is ideal sea conditions, where every other day is seasickness is a possibility.
Yeah.
Because there's always a constant roll out there.
Yes. Yeah.
And our 80% of our passengers are international, so some have never seen the ocean before, or been on a boat before. Yeah. But they want to see a whale. So.
Yeah. Generally, how much percentage-wise do you find of your passengers on a seasick prone day?
Yes. Okay.
On a seasick prone day, where any vessel would create conditions. How many do you normally get, sort of seasick?
Oh, yeah. On a sort of seasick prone day, probably about 20% of the passengers. 10 to 20%, sort of thing. Not all of them are sick, but I feel are complaining, or you can see they're not like feeling the best.
Do you think sea level has impacted the overall experience on the vessel?
I think so. When it comes to those people that are suffering from motion sickness, it's definitely helping them out. Yeah, and it's just enhances what we can offer and looking after our passengers even more.
When a person has a headset on, do you sort of go back to them, or do you just leave them alone?
Yeah, we leave them alone, and we just let them take it off when they feel like taking it off. I know you recommended like 10 minutes or something like that, but we just let them alone, and then we do come back now and again and just be like, you feeling all right? How about you, if they're like, I'm feeling a little bit better, how about getting up and having a wander outside, and just leave that on your seat, and we just make sure that we put the thing back in and that it's facing downwards so the sunlight doesn't get into the lenses. And then we'll be like, if you feel sick, come back in, press this button here, and put it on, and you'll be good.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Fantastic. And if it's left there for a little while, then we just pick it back up, plug it back in.
Gotcha.
And then away we go. Yeah.
Can you describe the difference in passenger comfort sort of before and after sea level?
Yeah, we definitely can see the benefit of using them. It's quite clear when it is working.
Yeah.
That they're quite miserable before, and then afterwards they feel, feeling a lot better. So
a bit more engaged.
Yeah, a bit more engaged. You can see the colour come back into their face. They want to get up, move around, start enjoying the trip.
When we designed Sea Level, we thought, how can we, create it as simple as possible. So we're hoping that the operation of it, that R&D helped with just a turn on, turn off, no controllers, no internet, nothing like that.
Yeah, definitely. If it was internet based, it would have been very tricky.
Yeah.
Sometimes you lose coverage and things like that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I thought there would have to be like a dedicated person running around, collecting, making sure they're sharing them out and things like that. But it hasn't been the case.
No, I understand.
It hasn't been the case. Yeah.
What is the feedback that you receive from people on Sea Level?
Oh, that has been good. The feedback that we have had is good. We don't get much because I think we haven't asked really. Like we haven't put that like a survey or anything like that. But the feedback we do get is like, are you feeling better? It's like, yep. And it's like, well, then it's working. Otherwise they would be sick. And from my crew, they say that it works quite a bit. As long as we get them early, it has a high success rate. Yeah.
And how long are your trips?
2 hours and 15 minutes.
Do you find that they have to put the headset back on, or is it variants to some people?
I think it's variant. Yeah. Some people.
We find that it works fairly quick for some people. Do you find it works? How fast do you find it works with people?
Yeah, it's pretty quick. If we get them early, it is pretty quick.
How does it sort of compare to what you were practicing before for seasickness help?
Well, we didn't really have much in the terms of seasickness remedies. We only had advice, pressure points, staring at stationary points in the distance, keeping your body temperature cool as well. Those were all the sort of things that we could do. We did have, back at the station, we have sea legs and a range of herbal seasickness remedies. However, some people don't know they get seasick, or they think they're going to be okay, so not everyone takes those necessary steps before coming out with us. So that's what we had before.
I guess other ones, they take sea legs and other medication. They take a while to kick in, don't they? Or
yeah, you have to take them at least an hour before the trip, or half an hour before the trip, for it to be effective.
Yeah.
It does have side effects. It could cause drowsiness as well, because it's like medication. Which isn't ideal, especially when you're wanting to experience the tour.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you're drowsy.
Of course.
Or you're having to travel afterwards. A long drive afterwards. It's not ideal to feel drowsy after that. So we do have herbal remedies, but they're not. So I've been told they're not as effective. I wouldn't know myself. I don't get seasick, so they need to use them. So.
Experience.
Worst seasickness experience. I've never had it on me, but I've seen one couple, must have been husband and wife, and they were sitting just like this, husband here, wife here, window there, and he was about to get sick, and I was like, "You're all right, mate?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I was like, I knew he was going to be sick, so I was like, "Here's a bag, just in case." He's like, "No, I'm all right." And then I seen it in his eyes went big, and he went to hold it in, like it just came out like a like a rocket. He went to hold it in like this, but he mustn't have covered the side of his mouth, and it spurted out this way onto his wife. And then up into the window, and she was sitting there and she was screaming, and it must have kept coming out like a jet. It was just coming out like a jet, and he was like trying to hold it, and it was just squirting out all over her, and she was sitting there like this, and I was just like, oh, there was nothing I could do really until it had all finished and try and blooming help him out, clean him up and stuff. But that's probably the worst I've seen. Yeah, all over the wife, all up the window. Yeah, that was pretty gnarly.
What kind of conditions do you sort of not go out in? What kind of wave conditions?
Oh, wind up to about maybe 20 knots, and swell of probably about 2 meters with like short period.
Yeah.
It has to be a short period because then it just, it's bouncy like this.
Yeah.
But if it's quite a long period between swells, then we can go out in something a little bit bigger.
Right.
You're just cruising over it. It's just a bit of a, it's a lazy swell.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get that wind on there of, 20 plus knots sort of thing, that makes everything a bit bumpier.
Yeah. Right. And what type of conditions do you encounter in your sort of operational area?
Yeah, so it could vary. I mean, our coastline is exposed to the elements. There's no sort of shelter really. You get hedged east of us. The closest thing is South America, so yeah, it's fully exposed to the rugged South Pacific.
Yeah.
So the average day, we usually always have a sea breeze of up to 10 knots sort of.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that works, it works. It's like, yeah, we'll let them know. So
Thank you so much.